Hi there, this is Two Legs Better, and this is Buckeye football time, and let's experience Buckeye football with me. And this is on the screen. You see the guy is Lincoln Kienholz, and he's a third-year player for Ohio State, and one of the two guys competing for the starting job at the quarterback position. That's the most important position in college football, and let's see. Let's hear what he says, and I want to, yeah, let's walk through this and see what he says.
Named an Iron Buckeye.
I mean, our team should strive for honor in the program, especially.
The quote was about, and it's very rare for a quarterback to be an Iron Buckeye because Iron Buckeye basically to lift weight and the athleticism. But this guy, Lincoln Kienholz, is a three-sport star, and he's just a natural. You know, he's great. He's fast. He's strong. He can jump. He can run. He can he can do a lot of things in addition to quarterbacking.
It definitely means a lot.
Lincoln, Coach Fessler said that you're getting the ball out a little bit quicker. How did you go about improving in that area kind of over the summer, and how have you seen that show up on the practice field so far?
I think just coming in and understanding the offense more and more, I think it just helps you play faster. You see things differently.
So was that more of a mental thing, understanding thing than it was changing up mechanics?
I mean, a little bit of both. I mean, we talk. Coach Day tells me all the time to keep the ball up a little bit, so don't go through a big wind motion, and then just flick and follow. That's something that I've been working on.
So the question is whether he's processing faster and let the ball out faster. It's a big deal. I think. Later they will ask about the Missouri game, I think, but you know, it's a big thing. I think he improved.
Like another term, a bucket list of things coming out of last year that you knew you had to get better at. If you follow my drift there to get to where you want to go and stuff, can you delineate a couple of those things where you definitely think you've made an improvement, like your release?
Yeah, I'd say probably first and foremost get my body weight right, get to a spot where I can go out there and play, and then get stronger, get faster. That's something that I've been working towards this off season with Coach Mick in the weight room, and that's something that I've been looking into a lot. And then also, I mean, football wise, just film study. That's something that we also did off season as quarterbacks, just come in and watch film together and just get better. So
yeah, how big are you now, weight wise?
Like 215.
And you're what, 6'3"?
6'3". Yep.
Was being an Buckeye an active goal of yours?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's something that I had on my bucket list the start of summer. I think the first week of May was something that I was looking into, and then also getting my body weight up, that was something as well. So.
I don't know how often quarterbacks get that honor here. Like, what do you think that says about you and your approach to things and your work ethic, and like how people should view you as a quarterback?
I think it just shows that I put in some work in the off season. I mean, the weight room, also on the field, just go out there and be my best, and I mean, just hopefully prove my teammates that my leadership's there as well. So.
Coach Day and Coach Fessler both said that the quarterback room was guys who were good for each other. How is Julian good for you, and how have you been good for him over these last 6 months?
I think we keep pushing each other. I mean, just every day in practice, there's different things that he does on film that I look at to get better, and then I feel like there's things that he looks at that I do too. So I think it's just things that we can kind of use each other to get better and keep pushing each other.
Coach Fessler said that there was drastic improvement from the spring to now for you. Do you feel that?
I do. Yeah, I think leadership-wise, that's something. Body feels good as well, and then just going out there, being a leader for my teammates.
I want to make a comment on his journey, on Lincoln's journey. You know, Kienholz. You know, he grew up in Dakota. I think it's South Dakota, and it's now he comes to Ohio State. You gotta understand, in the football world, Ohio State is like New York City of all the cities compared to say a small town in Indiana or something in Ohio. maybe not Ohio, but you know what I mean. It's a big deal. So although he was great in high school, he really was great high school, a great leader, a great athlete. But he came to Ohio State. He got to feel overwhelmed. How would you lead? Because your quarterback is supposed to lead, but how would you lead those grown-ass men? I mean, 20, 21, 23-year-old who are going to go to NFL and whose name are known by the fans across the country. How are you supposed to lead those men to tell them what to do? And they are going to make millions of dollars very soon, and they look down at you. You're just a young kid. So there's no wonder he was overwhelmed in his first season at Ohio State. That's why he didn't perform well in the Missouri game. But he also wasn't getting too much attention, kind of like where Tevin was this year is. Tevin is in this season, I think. But I think from what I heard, he's a super competitive guy. He's super athletic, and he learned things fast. In the summer they had games, kind of bonding games, new games, nobody has played before, and he's a natural winner, and that helps. So I want to offer a little bit of my opinion on quarterback selection later, but let's hear what he has to say.
How different do you feel from the Cottonwood game when that thrust of that than you do now if you are starting against Texas?
Yeah. I mean, I feel way different. As a freshman going in there, I didn't really know a whole lot. I think the biggest thing is probably protection for me. I didn't really know really how that worked, and now that's something that I feel like I'm pretty good at, and I can go out and execute that well. And I've been in the offense for 3 years now, so it's something that I think just more time, more reps, and film study can help me get better. So
we've heard a lot about your athletic background in high school and different sports, positives, but also you weren't as focused on purely playing quarterback. These couple of years where you have been purely focused on quarterback, how much has that changed your game and some of those things you just touched on?
Yeah, just being an athlete helps, first and foremost, playing basketball, baseball, football. I think that helped me kind of get to the position I'm at right now. But now being in college, it's way different. Just having 3 years to kind of just focus on football and playing quarterback, I think it's helped me put me in a good spot. So.
Looking at your athleticism, it seems like the black jersey could be restrictive for you at times. How do you kind of overcome that, be able to flash that athleticism, and show these coaches that you can do all of these things while also knowing that you're not live and having that black jersey?
I think doing a good job, if that's reading DNs, making a pull, being decisive on that. I think also extending plays at times that need to be extended. I think that's really something that a quarterback needs to do at times when a play breaks down or something's not there. So, yeah.
There's a difference between being friends with guys in the quarterback room and being friendly with them. Which were you, and how did that develop as you guys are close?
I'd say we're friends, honestly. I think just the past 2 years, Julian and I have developed a good friendship and good relationship towards each other. And then obviously with Tevin coming in this year as well, I think we're all good, all cool towards each other, and we all want each other to get better and be the best we can.
So. You and Julian have similar interests?
It's a little different. He's a Cali kid. I'm from South Dakota, so there's some things that we have an interest together, but then there's also a lot of things that we do on our free time. I think this summer a big thing was golf. I golfed with Julian a couple of times this summer, so I think that's something that we kind of share interest in. So.
Did you hunt out there? Were you a hunter?
I did, yep.
I can't. Is he a hunter?
I do not think so.
Is he good at golf?
He's all right.
Good.
He's all right. Yeah.
Who's better? Yeah.
I'm not going to answer that question.
If you're number.
I like when he smells, because in last year's national championship run, after the championship game, there was celebration. There was some insider footages, and I saw him, and he was kind of goofy. He was joking around with all kind of people. So I think that's his personality. Now in front of the camera and facing the most important job interview basically for him in his life, the first one at least. And he's serious. He's really, really serious. And now he's cracking a smile, and that's a great thing. That's a great thing to see, because for a quarterback, you want them to be kind of intense, but also kind of relaxed, and this is a great thing to see. And I also like how he comments. I'm not going to comment on that. I'm sure Julian Sayin is nowhere near where he is as a golfer. He's just a natural. So, yeah.
Do you think being an all-around athlete like you were in high school, though, gives you some, for other term, street cred with your fellow players here, too, that like you've shown in the softball games and things like that, you are this athlete? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think
you do a lot of things.
Yeah, I think being an athlete kind of shows that if something were to happen and I need to go in or being the guy, I think just stuff like that, like they can rely on me, just be an athlete, go and and make plays. And then also, just like off-season weight room stuff as well, just being able to do different things at a high level. So,
Does it bother you that a lot of Ohio State fans just remember that 2 quarters and a quarter against Missouri? You know what I mean? That's what they've seen most of you and stuff. And like you said, you've gone a long way in that regard. What do you want the fans to know about you that maybe they don't understand yet?
That was almost 3 years ago, so I think just more experience. I put in time, I guess, in the off-season, film study, weight room, just get myself ready for a good situation. So.
Do you even think about that?
Last question for Lincoln.
Not really. It honestly was like I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it wasn't a good situation for me to kind of go in there, but I went in and tried to do my best for the team, so.
The question. That's the Missouri game in 2 years ago. I performed really poorly, so and I think it wasn't his fault. It's Kyle McCord to build on the team in the bowl season. And Devin Brown got injured, and it's just the whole thing was a debacle. Anyway, now let's hear from the other contender here, and hear what he has to say.
Hey, when you know every throw, every whatever is going to be judged.
Yeah, it's all about improving every day, and we're trying to make it so every rep is game-like, and even in 7-on-7 and routes on air, we're practicing like we're in the game and visualizing ourselves in the game. So I think it's really important. Coach Day's been honest about that.
Are you watching what Lincoln does as well?
All the quarterbacks. We take tips from each other. We take what if they made a mistake, how can we not make that mistake in the future? And, when I make mistakes, the other quarterbacks take tips from me too.
How's your vocal leadership for you coming along? Where you maybe were in the school?
Yeah, I feel like I'm developing in that area. In the weight room, Coach Mick, we've been focusing on that, trying to improve vocal leadership and just as a team, with growing our leaders.
You have to only force yourself to do that, or is that something that's comfortable?
Yeah, I feel like I'm developing that role and kind of getting more comfortable in that.
Hey, Julian, can you speed up to?
I want to talk a little bit about the background of this guy. Okay, this is Julian Sayin. He, according, different people say it differently here, so he might be top 1 or 2 or 3 of the quarterback of last year's class, and he committed to Nick Saban. So he's from California. He played in big time games basically, and then he was picked by Nick Saban. And then after Nick Saban retired, and he immediately come to Ohio State, which I think Ryan Day is a better QB developer anyway. But anyway, so he came to Ohio State. So I would say he's in a better position as to Lincoln Kienholz, because Lincoln still has a long uphill battle when he came to Ohio State. But for Julian, it's basically, this is how it's supposed to be. However, all that being said, you still need to perform on the field, right? You still need to, manage the offense and lead the team to win. And so far, it seems like Lincoln is more vocal than Julian. But I don't know. It's you still need to get the job done. It's not just like you're strong, you can run, then you can lead the team. It's not just that. It's you have to understand everybody and command the team. So let's see.
mic from you just a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What kind of day did you have today, Julian, in your estimation?
Yeah, I feel like I had some good plays out there, and then there's stuff to clean up. We're gonna get back in there and watch the tape, and see what we got to clean up, and then correct it, and we want them tomorrow.
How eager are you to know the answer to the question that everybody's been asking for 7 months now? Who's the starting quarterback at Ohio State?
Yeah, we're just taking it one day at a time. We have a close room here, and I focus on how I played today, and then just improving, and how I'm going to go practice tomorrow, and just getting my mindset ready for practice tomorrow.
Coach Day was talking about when he had gone through quarterback competitions as a player and kind of hating the guy at first, but then getting really close to him and kind of going through that competition. What's kind of your relationship been like with Lincoln as you guys have entered this competition?
Yeah, I think in the spring we only had 3 guys here in the room. Me, Tavian, and Lincoln. So we were very close as a group, and that's just grown this over the summer and then in this camp. We're a very close room, and Coach Fessler leads that. So it's a very close room, and we compete every day, but we have each other's backs for sure. Developing in my footwork and accuracy, my mechanics, and then just that's it. Definitely, it's just all about when you start to get that confidence. So it's that's what brings in family and teammates.
2 things. One is you mentioned footwork. It's an important thing for quarterbacks. So that's little details. I just like that. It's nothing new. It's almost cliche, but I like that. He just mentioned that. Because it's important. So, and then the other thing is the social media and outside world, and he's just like, I don't pay attention to that. I focus on my teammates, focus on my job, and that's all great answers. I really like that.
You know Arch Manning? Do you know him?
I don't know him. And I know he's a great player, and I've seen him play over the years, but I don't know him personally.
And you personally, what do you think you will show people if in fact you get this job that's different? About what you bring to the program, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm just focusing on improving and developing myself, and just being ready if my number is called.
You mentioned
again a great answer. The question was about Arch Manning, and he said that's a great player. I don't know him in person, but I saw him play. I know he's a great player. That's just like a standard answer there. And then, what do you bring to the program? Oh, yeah, I just try to be better. And it's it's almost political answers there. But, it's interesting.
like in spring, you was a small quarterback room, so you got close on it. You guys do anything to bond or anything together off it?
Yeah, we do. We do quarterback stuff. We go over to Coach Fessler's house and hang out. And it's a very tight room, and we hang out off the field and do a lot of stuff together. So it's good.
Any sort of like hobbies together, or just what do you do?
Yeah, we this summer I know we ended up all the quarterbacks. We were playing pig at Coach Fessler's house, and it was fun.
Coach Day talked about band and one of those things.
Yeah, I feel like I'm developing to that role. And trying every day this camp and trying to improve that area, and I feel like I've done a good job. Helping it, you can't be something like consistency. Who are you? The routine plays routinely, and defense can count on. But we have each other's backs. And it's a very good room, and I'll be I feel like it's just I'm excited to be out there practicing every day. I get to play get to play the game, and just be out there and be with my teammates and have fun, maybe correct it, and just move on to the next day. But it's just playing the game I grew up playing and the game I love with my team.
You said you want to improve at everything. You said you really were focused on getting stronger.
Yeah, I definitely put on a couple of pounds with Coach Mick in the weight room, and I think definitely got stronger this summer and this winter.
Who do you
I'm at 10.
Everybody keeps thinking you're 5'5". You're taller than
No, I'm 6'1".
Yeah.
It's the vocal leadership. It's about being authentic and true to who you are. So you believe that you so as that with them and kind of get in them a little bit. You're gonna come back to the next play. So it's yeah. When I'm in California, I love going to the beach. Friends, yeah, Brandon Ennis brings a lot of energy. Vocal guy for the. He's definitely done a great job this far this camp, and he's a very good receiver.
All right. I mean, after watching these interviews, and I personally think, I know this is not it's, I don't know. If you judge by those interviews alone, I would say Julian Sayin is a little bit ahead of Lincoln Kienholz at the moment, because the attitude is there, and even the questions. The question starts to focus on executions. And other players like Brandon Innes and other things. And for Lincoln's questions and the communication is more about how you improve and what's your athleticism. I don't know. It probably means nothing there. So, but anyway, I think Julian is pretty impressive. I'd be surprised if it's not him. Right now, and as we come out, will be a very strong quarterback. I mean, about the quarterback plays, it actually doesn't matter whether you run your pass or you do whatever you do, and what you need is to keep the drive going. If you go back to the last year's national championship, in the last game against against Notre Dame in the championship game, Will Howard was responsible for like 9 of the 11 first downs. I need to double check the number, but I think my memory serves me right there. Like the majority of the third down were made by Howard, either by throwing or running. And that is a great stat. It doesn't show up in the final stats maybe, because in the final stats you say, oh yeah, pass for 300 yards and run for 50. It doesn't seem much, but how many of them are third downs? You remember Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison was great because he's reliable on third downs. Your third down, you just pass it to him and he's going to get it for you. So same for quarterback here. So I think that's really going to be important. And that has a lot to do with your brain than to your athleticism.
Julian was more comfortable out there those first few days than maybe he was in the spring. Is that something you've noticed with him going from spring to camp?
I think across the board, all three of those guys have got more and more comfortable. Just when you step into spring ball, right, there's got to be corrections, there's got to be, adjustments, there's got to be things that you're working on every single day. And then you give them stuff that they have to work on in the summer. And they're grinding through those different looks and they're watching a lot of tape and, getting There's so much to quarterback play, right? So to sit here and go those things, we'd be here all day. But as our footwork, as our base, as making to the target, as making sure that, we're in connected to the ground and back from the ground. Decision making, every snap, to know exactly what we're looking at, to be able to have what we think the defense is going to do, and then post snap, can we confirm that's what the defense and having a plan, right? What if not? I thought it was now. Where do my eyes have decision? But constantly playing those games. So I think it's just as important that we talk about this all the time, that and maybe watching some film and what would I do here on this play? What would I do here on this play? And constantly challenge an imagination, even when we're not out there on the field doing it. Opportunity to grow, there's an opportunity to get better, and maybe somehow mentally, if I do get looked at, hadn't shown up on tape all year long, but if they've shown, I'm ready for that moment.
Where have you seen Lincoln grow?
You see, I love that answer. I think it has to focus because the only thing that's important in games. In competitions, you have two things. You have number one, technique. Number two, that's decision making. So you gotta have the technique. You gotta have the. It's not skill. It's not talent. It's the technique. You gotta have the technique to make all the plays in the game situations, and then you need to make the good decisions to do that. And with the technical equipment, you can execute your decision, and that's exactly what this is required here. So,
what's that?
Where have you seen Lincoln?
Well, number one, he's an Iron Buckeye, so which is pretty incredible. Obviously, we know that's a big deal around here, and his work in the weight room was tremendous. So as an athlete, we've definitely seen that. And then, on top of that, we've seen him grow as a leader. He's more vocal. His presence is felt. I think he's playing with a little bit of an edge to him, which is good to see. I think you have to play that position with a little bit of an edge without, ever getting too high or too low. And that's contagious. So we're seeing that right now from Lincoln. And then, as far as mechanically it goes, we're definitely seeing Lincoln. He's accurate. I think that his base has improved. A couple of things that in the spring improvements that way.
With Lincoln specifically, you know that he's got the block on his athleticism from his one things like, how do you see him as a guard ball off to goes into life?
Yeah, you definitely see the percent as you go on. Also, still see play in the pocket, there's no question. Lincoln's a great athlete and does a great job of a couple plays throughout the field and made some great throws. So I'll see that quite well. There's still feeling for that.
The question is about Lincoln Kienholz athleticism, and again, I like the answer because in practice you can't see it at a full display because it's not full contact and quarterbacks are protected. So it generally considered to be a disadvantage for athletic quarterbacks. However, I kind of disagree. I actually totally disagree. I think quarterbacks are first judged by their fundamental technique and decision making. If you have these two, then your athleticism can be added to that. You think about people like Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson. They are not just athletic. They are great quarterbacks. They have great mechanic and they have great decision making, and on top of that, they have the athleticism, and that's when you are dangerous. And without the other two, your athleticism doesn't really help that much. So, and of course, to these coaches, like Billy Fessler said, they can still see the athleticism when chances present themselves a little bit.
Part of that athleticism regard, and I'm sure there are things that Julian does really well. How do you make sure that those guys are trying to win the competition on what they do well, but also making them get out of their comfort zone so they're being thrust into positions that maybe they're not super comfortable with to show you guys that they can do those things?
Yeah, I mean, as we script practice and we go through it, we try to be extremely detailed in the different reps that everyone's getting, and it's not like we would ever script a certain play on purpose because it fits someone's strengths better. We want them to run the offense. The offense is always going to adjust to the skill set of the players that are in the entire offense. But at the end of the day, the offense is going to be the offense. So from a decision-making perspective, from a throw perspective, those guys are going out there and getting those reps and competing in it. And really by period on the field, meeting off the field. And the one thing is push each other hard, because each other including that mix, and they're still friends. It's just you walk into that quarter with really good guys. You want to do something to enjoy it. But ultimately, they're out there and they're trying it's a combination of them getting from this. They're trying to do the right thing, and I can that there's something to do and make it out, right? That's major. It's to make my eyes right spot.
The answer there, if you want to be quick, right? You want to be quick. How much of that is information processing, decision making, and how much of that is mechanic? It's absolutely both. And he mentioned eyes. That's very specific. Because on a football field, I would imagine, because I didn't play myself, but you're holding the ball and you're not looking at the ball, you're looking at the defense, you're looking at your own players, how they run. It's the same thing as badminton, because I teach and I play badminton. So my coach taught me back in the day, you know, you want to hit the shuttle, you have to look at the shuttle. So on the field, you look at the shuttle, but at the same time, you need to move your position to hit the shuttle. And at the same time, your eyes have to be constantly fixated on the birdie coming to you. But that's not enough, because you need to have a certain amount to focus on your opponent, see where they are going. That will give you a clue how they're going to defend your shot, and then you can send it to different place, and that's how deceptions happen on the badminton field. You know, football is just like any other sports. It's just the technical details, and just I like so far what Coach Fessler said. I think it's great. So now for the quarterback decision, essentially it comes down to the head coach, right? The head football coach, that's Ryan Day. And let's hear what Coach Day has to say.
It's a focus. It always is a focus, though. And we have to decide what the things are this year that we're going to do to make sure that we convert. Like you said, situationally, overall, I think
the numbers he referred, but I was also a little bit surprised because obviously the third down, third and long, third and medium, it's above average in terms of a national average. It's a little bit surprising, but it does tell me two things. For one is that Ohio State must be really good at first and second downs, because the only way you don't have to convert third down is you already scored on first and second. So you don't have to face a lot of third downs. And you don't have to convert a lot of them. You only do that when you face the toughest competitions there. So, but still, I see the point. I mean, you know, because that's the money down. You know, the third down is money down. You have to be able to convert that.
Out there.
You still wearing cargo pants that feel like cardboard? That's why you need bearskin cargo pants. The 6-pocket breathable.
Or is he already back out to front?
We think be able to 40.
By the way, the question is about Edric Houston presumably starting defensive tackle on the team, and he injured in the first day last week. So, but it seems like it's good news. He's going to be back
Tomorrow, then the day after, but had another good day today. So, yeah, it's good to see him moving around, and you know, he was limited today, but I think he'll be ready to get in these team drills pretty soon.
Spencer Holbrook. You obviously hate to see a guy like Edric go down, but how much is this opportunity to get those reps that you probably?
I think it's important for everybody in the entire program. When you get in the second week of preseason camp, you know, you're getting closer. You have to understand that if things go down their styles. I mean, they've played football before. They know like to be a starter. That's a new responsibility. It takes a lot of work and training to work at the plays, but not only take on the majority of the plays, but so everybody got an opportunity to do that, to be if they had previously. And so when someone goes down and practically step up in a lot of different ways, so other guys have to step up and then figure out, okay, like what do I need to do? So if you get to be a start play, not another position, but you have to earn those opportunities. So these guys step in those roles and take advantage of them. Yeah, no, they go and look, they're growing. The continues. I'm pleased with the progress, but if they continue to learn the play there, defense take the ball, then But I'll get careful. I'm both great with it. Just heard now. Now, what's your thing? What's your saying? We get his
Yeah, you talk about the quarterback contract, pretty close to tell at the moment. I guess it's the end of this week. I think that will be the time to announce who wins the job. He also mentioned you got to take care of the ball. You know, it's extending the drive and take care of the ball. That's like I don't know whether it's targeted to any one of those or it seems okay in the spring game. I don't think. Well, Julian didn't have any turnovers, and Lincoln, I don't remember. I don't recall.
You mentioned sort of like taking quarterbacks taking things on. Where I guess are they in starting time?
You know, when you take as many reps as you do and you're in practice every day, I can make a cut up of 10 that will look bad.
I think this year might be even better than last year. I mean, this year is the offensive line is very deep, and you know, we'll see.
Left here, Cameron Teague Robinson.
Yep. Yeah, and he's also got a little working guard too. Yeah, because as we know, it's a long year. We have to be able to do that. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we certainly learned a lot from coming off of last year. So we'll continue to cross train, but it you know, as time goes on, it's more like 20 than like 60-40.
To the right here, Bill Rabinowitz.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot to like. He's very smart. Accurate. You know, I think he's got good bent. He's got twitch like in his lower half, but he's got like twitch upper half. My main stance is similar with Julian. And so I think he's built in the field. So those are all reasons to like him, and he's proved. You know, he wants to be good. He knows what it takes. And so those guys they're battling their tail off right now. Tough, friends, Julian, and then coming on to that room going for each other in a lot of different ways. So those guys, that has to be the best room in the country. That's the way we look at it. But to answer your question, those are the positives that we see out of Julian.
To left here, Dan Hope.
Ryan, going back to the offensive line, how do you feel about the overall state of where Applewood is right now, both from the starter and that?
Yeah, I would say we're still developing depth. I feel good. I feel like we have guys, you know, for the first time in a while where, you know, you get into like the 8th or 9th or 10th guy and you're like, well, I feel like that he's going to play for us this year. Maybe in the past we didn't quite feel that way. But the question is like, all right, well, how's this going to play out in terms of the starting five, and you know, who's the 6th guy in? That's where all the competitions are right now. But the good news is we got a lot of guys to work with.
All right, we'll do 2 more. First one, Tim May.
Back in the previous century, when you were competing for the starting job at New Hampshire, what did you tell yourself every morning when you got up? What got you through, you know, the
Good question.
Because you want to be buddies with the guy, but you also want to beat him. I mean, you think about what they're thinking about, you know what I mean, in these kind of situations?
You know, that's a great question. When I think back on that, and one of my close friends to this day is one of the quarterbacks that was in that room. And you spend so much time together, and the easy thing when you're early on is to kind of hate the guy that you're going against, and then you spend so much time with them, they become your best friends. All that being said, you want to play. And when you're in high school, you're used to being the guy. And there's a certain level of comfort that comes with that. And when you're competing with somebody, you're kind of always looking over your shoulder. And that's not a great feeling, but it's a healthy feeling, because you know that you have to hold yourself to a certain standard. You're not allowed to have a bad day, and you certainly can't have bad plays. So when you're going through that competition, it's not a comfortable feeling, but that's okay. That's part of the process.
And we'll wrap it up with Doug Lemmer. He's to the
And just go back to that. If I could talk to my former self in that spot, I would say, be the hardest worker, outwork the room, but control the things that you can control. Things like the team, commanding the huddle, commanding the line of scrimmage.
All the clips I want to show today, and I don't know how you feel. It's long, it's exhausting. I'm exhausted sitting here watching them. But it's also exhilarating. I think a quarterback is an important position for college football, and it's kind of a, it's no wonder that everybody is talking about that every day. Literally, you get to the media and they talk about the Ohio State quarterback competition every day. And who is it going to be? Is it Julian? Is it going to be Lincoln? And I myself wonder about that as well, because sometimes maybe the team doesn't know. But I think that's why the culture really matters. Like Ryan Day said, if the culture is there, right, and then everybody is working for the team. So the team will look at like basically both and all three players. And one thing I always fascinates me was remember the 2014 the championship run when when J.T. Barrett went down, Cardale Jones took over. Cardale Jones was he's been in the program for 3 years at that time, but he was not really considered it's hard to say. I guess it's hard to say. He's big, he's strong, but he's not. I think he doesn't have the same command of the offense. But the thing is, I think the whole team started to carry him. The offensive line started to carry him. Zeke Elliott was started to carry him, and that was the championship run. And that was a great championship run, and it made Cardale Jones look great as well. So in a way, let's say Julian take the reign, and then Lincoln was the backup. If the team just loves both guys, they will listen to Julian. If anything happened to Julian, Lincoln had to take over, then they will raise up Lincoln. I think that's actually it could be a great thing there. I also want to talk a little bit about the kind of career projective. I think for Julian, I'm pretty sure he's going to win the starting job here. So, and he's going to do well in 2 years, and that's almost like a given. And after 2 years, he probably will go to the NFL, and hopefully, it goes smoothly like that. And for Lincoln, if Lincoln can win the job, of course, it's great for him. If he wins the job, then probably something would happen to Julian next year, not this year, but next year or something. Maybe, or maybe not. But Lincoln, if he can get the starting job, he has 1 or 2 years to prove himself and to grow. That'll be great. But I think the more likely scenario is Lincoln would be the backup this year, and then next year he will compete with Tavian to be the backup. And I'm not sure he would stick 1 more year. I think he probably would leave somewhere else to to be the starting quarterback there. But if that's the case, I think this year will be equally critical to him. He could learn a lot this year, and then next year he will be ready. He will be mature enough and technically sound enough to be a great player somewhere else, if not at Ohio State. So I think that's a great situation. At least if I'm his father, that's all his advisor. That's what I would, that's what I would advise, right? And for Tavian, I think this year clearly, there's no expectation. Just learn and let everything sink in. And next year is really the kind of the growth year, and you want to develop yourself so you can take over the year after. That's the real competition. Well, not real competition. That's the real competition for Tavian starts. Either you compete with Lincoln. Lincoln probably won't be here by the time, but there are new young blood coming in, so that's another one. But this is like my take on the quarterback. I think we are fans, right? We gotta know who we are. I'm always I don't worry about the coach's job or something. I just see what they do, and so far I think Ryan Day has done a great job, and I like the coaching staff, and I like the people he brings in, and I like those quarterbacks, you know, I love all those guys, and they are all great players, and good luck to them, and go Buckeyes. All right, bye-bye.